Tracy McGrady is a two-time NBA scoring champion, a seven-time All-Star, and a Hall of Famer who never won a playoff series. Here is the retrospective of T-Mac's glorious and peculiar career, one filled with what-ifs. We'll answer how good was McGrady actually, why he never won in the postseason, and why Kobe called him the toughest opponent he ever faced.
They never won one playoff series? How did I know that? Not one?
Early life and road to the NBA. Tracy McGrady was born in Florida in 1979, but unlike some of his NBA colleagues, he didn't have a rags-to-riches story, and he had a fairly normal childhood. His first sports love was baseball, and Tracy was a talented pitcher. However, after a big growth spurt and seeing Penny Hardaway play for his home team Orlando Magic in 1993, Tracy started focusing more on basketball. McGrady exploded as a high school junior, averaging spectacular all-around numbers of 23 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 blocks per game. But despite his stellar play, McGrady struggled. He was a hothead teenager with a great game and an even greater ego. So he skipped school, had bad grades, and he often fought with his head coach, which ultimately led to being cut from the basketball team and turned the college scouts away. But because one of McGrady's AAU coaches was also an Adidas agent for finding young talent, he arranged for Tracy to get invited to the prestigious Adidas ABCD summer camp. McGrady came to the 1996 camp as a complete nobody, and from the 175 players there, he was ranked 175th. Lamar Odom was ranked number 1, and Tracy demanded to guard Odom to show everybody what he could do against the so-called best player in camp. What was the result? A completely annihilated Odom, who was on the receiving end of some ferocious tomahawk dunks from T-Mac. After that, McGrady got offered to transfer to Mount Zion Christian Academy, where he led his new team to the state finals, and was named the High School Player of the Year by USA Today and Associated Press. Rick Pitino called him to come to Kentucky, but Tracy decided to follow the successful and Kobe Bryant, who came to the NBA straight from high school in 2 previous drafts. In the 1997 NBA draft that featured Tim Duncan, Chauncey Billups, and Steven Jackson, McGrady got selected 9th overall by the Toronto Raptors. Toronto, Cousin Vince, and the first what if. To Toronto was a big cultural shock for an 18-year-old McGrady. He moved from sunny Florida to freezing Canada, where he didn't know anybody. It was a huge shock for me. It was depressing and I was lonely. After practice, I would come home and go straight to bed. I must have been sleeping like 20 hours a day. T-Mac. He was a complete outsider on the second worst team in the league, and he started in just 17 games, scoring 7 points in 18 minutes per game. McGrady repeatedly quarreled with the then Raptors coach Darrell Walker, who often criticized Tracy on his work ethic. But the second season
Tracy beefing with every coach he get coached by. Straight beef.
A lot of positives for Toronto and for McGrady. They got a new arena, a new coach, and the arrival of one player stole the hearts of all basketball fans in Canada. It was Vince Carter, the 5th pick of the '98 draft, and McGrady's cousin. Carter won the Rookie of the Year award. Toronto had 2 exciting young prospects, and Tracy finally had someone to hang out with. The 2 cousins were like peas in a pod, and they became inseparable, like Siamese twins. Carter exploded in the 99-2000 season with 26 points and 4 assists on average, making his first All-Star team. Tracy had started to come into his own and finally saw an increase in playing time. In 31 minutes, he averaged 15.4 points, 6.3 boards, and 3.3 dimes per game. He also blocked 1.9 shots each game, which was the 10th best mark in the league and best for a non-center. He and Carter were a deadly combination nobody could stay in front of, and they had tremendous upside because they were both in their early 20s. I see us as the next
bro. What do T-Mac know? Bro, hold on.
Jordan and Pippen, McGrady said during one interview, adding that he thinks of himself as Scottie and Carter as MJ. But ultimately, those turned out to be just nice words. Even though they were cousins and best friends, the 2 young stars had extremely big egos. Despite publicly saying that he'd be fine to be a Pippen, McGrady secretly wanted to be a Jordan. And he wanted it straight away. So he opted to go back home to Florida, signing a 6-year deal worth $67 million to join the Orlando Magic. If McGrady had stayed with Carter and the Raptors, the Canadian team would likely have gone to 2 or 3 NBA Finals, considering that East wasn't that strong in the early 2000s.
I don't know why. I don't know why they broke up, bro. Y'all think Vince and T-Mac could have won a championship together? Y'all think they could have got at least one, or at least made it to a finals, bro? Like, come on, bro. They shouldn't have broken up.
Magic years with the Magic. The main reason why I got to Orlando was Grant Hill. Not Florida, not the money, but Hill, Tracy said. Hill was a 5-time All-Star, just entering the prime of his career, and he and McGrady were going to become the best duo in the league. At least, so we thought. Unfortunately, Hill's ankle injury got worse, and he played just 47 games in the next 4 years, and Tracy was left to carry the young Magic team on his shoulders, which he did, and then some. Mac started to torture opposing defenses, with almost 27 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 4.6 assists per game. He got an All-Star nod, a place in the All-NBA second team, and the Most Improved Player award. However, the Magic had a bunch of rookies next to McGrady, and they lost in the first round of the playoffs. Next season, it was much the same. McGrady was an All-Star, and he made the first All-NBA team this time, but the Magic once again lost in the first round of the playoffs. Then, in the 2002-2003 season, we see the best of Tracy McGrady's career, as he became one of the most unstoppable offensive forces in the history of the game. He carried the entire Magic team on his shoulders, averaging 32.1 points per game, along with 6.5 rebounds and 5.5 assists.
He averaged 32 points? T-Mac was cooking. I ain't gonna lie, who was on the Magic though? I don't even remember nobody who played for them.
T-Mac was one of the top 5 players in three-pointers made that year, and was equally deadly from mid-range or driving to the basket. Just choose and pick your poison. I don't have any particular unstoppable move. I do everything well. It is up to the opponent to choose how I will score, McGrady said. Then came the first round of the playoffs, where Orlando barely made it as the 8th seed. The first-seeded Detroit was a tough opponent, but after 4 games, the Magic led 3-1. After the third win, the young and arrogant McGrady said, "It feels good to finally get to the second round of the playoffs." The Pistons must have heard what McGrady had said about finally advancing, and they did their best to make his life miserable. First, they destroyed Magic by 30 points in Game 5, and then they won the next 2 games, making T-Mac eat his words. For the 2004 season,
he
McGrady
was up
had
3-1 on the Pistons with an 8 seed? Come on, T-Mac.
continued to dominate. He was scoring in bunches, and he had his career high against the Wizards when he poured 62 points. With 28 points on average, he was once again a scoring champion, an all-star, and made the second All-NBA team. But it was all in vain, because Orlando was a disaster, and they finished the season with the worst record in the NBA. Completely pissed off, Tracy demanded to be traded. The Magic obliged, and he got sent to Houston in a 7-player deal. The next year, the Magic drafted Dwight Howard with the first pick, who became the best center in the NBA within 3 seasons, and Grant Hill got healthy and was an all-star. It's another what if, but if T-Mac had stayed, he could have gone to the finals with Orlando as well. Houston, we have a problem. Houston had a solid team in 2005, with solid veterans around the 25-year-old McGrady and 24-year-old Yao Ming, who established himself as one of the best centers in the league. The most memorable moment of the season was McGrady's 13 points in 33 seconds against the Spurs, which is still the best offensive 33 seconds by anyone in NBA history. T-Mac was once again an all-star and an all-NBA team member, and he produced his usual 25-6-5 stat line. In the first round of the playoffs, Houston played against Dallas, and the series went to Game 7. In the 7th game, one of the biggest blowouts in playoff history happened, with Dallas winning by 40 points. McGrady and Yao scored 60 of Houston's 76 points, and T-Mac definitely didn't disappoint, but he got stopped in the first round once again. Early in his second season with the Rockets, McGrady began to have back problems, which kept him off the floor on several occasions. McGrady played only 47 games, and the Rockets did not make the playoffs this season due to various injuries to McGrady and Ming. In the 2007 season, McGrady was selected for the All-Star game for the 7th time in a row, and Houston made the playoffs as the 5th seed, with great hopes. They met Utah Jazz in the first round, and the series was again decided in Game 7. You guessed it, T-Mac had lost again, despite averaging...
Yo, losing in the first round like this over and over and over again gotta do something to your psyche. It gotta mess you up, bro. Like,
25 points and 7 assists in the series. In the press conference after the game, T-Mac said, "This team was going to go as far as I take them. I tried my best. I tried," before suppressing tears and leaving the presser. The next season, same story. 5th seed in the West and the first round loss to the Jazz. Tracy was again playing really well, scoring 40 with 10 boards in the deciding Game 6, but he couldn't get over the talented Jazz team without the injured Yao Ming. In 2009, it was Ming who was healthy and played the best basketball of his career, but now while, Tracy was on the shelf, missing the start of the season because of knee and shoulder surgery, and then missing the entire season for the microfracture in the left knee, which didn't heal properly. To add insult to injury, this was the first time that his team advanced past the first round in the playoffs, with Tracy in street clothes, multiple trades, and injuries. NBA players
Damn. T-Mac, dang. I see how people don't really want to talk about T-Mac like that.
usually reach their prime around the age of 28, when their physical ability and basketball IQ reach the same level. For McGrady, everything past the age of 28 was a struggle, and his body couldn't handle the NBA wear and tear anymore. This was mostly because of the way McGrady jumped and landed when he shot the ball, which was extremely harsh on his knees and back. For example, if you look at LeBron's landing mechanics, it's like an elegant gazelle, softly brushing the floor, which is a big reason why he almost never gets injured. Players like McGrady and Derrick Rose landed like a couple of rhinos.
I swear,
and over time,
bro,
their knees just couldn't handle the stress anymore.
tripping.
Past the age of 29, his knees were shot dead, and he was a shell of a player he used to be just a few seasons before. The Rockets decided to trade T-Mac at the beginning of 2009. He landed with the Knicks, where he played just 24 games and averaged 9 points per game. After that, he signed for Detroit, where he averaged just 8 points, and then Atlanta, where he averaged 5. He played a season in China in 2013, and just when it seemed like it was all over, Tracy received a call from San Antonio Spurs and coach Pop, who still remembered those 13 points in 33 seconds. Tracy joined the Spurs for the playoffs, and he played garbage time minutes. Still, it was the best chance he ever had to win a championship, but Ray Allen's three-pointer in Game 6 denied him the title. After the Spurs lost to Miami in Game 7, McGrady retired from basketball at the age of 34. Legacy. Prime T-Mac was among the best and most versatile offensive weapons we have ever seen. Mac did not have a weakness in his game, and his movements were so fluid and so smooth that it often looked like he was playing slower than he actually did. Out of all the shooting guards and small forwards of his era, only LeBron was a better passer than McGrady, who averaged over 5 assists per game in Orlando and Houston. Mac rarely turned the ball over. He was a great rebounder and a very good defensive player when he wanted to be, especially early on in his career. Tracy could create a shot out of nowhere, and during his Orlando days, he was without a doubt the best scorer in the game. This man averaged 28 points when 28 points was a lot, and the pace was among the slowest in league history, with 10 possessions per game less than 2021. When Kobe Bryant asked which player was the hardest for him to guard, he said that it was Tracy McGrady, due to his 6'8" height, his length, athleticism, and offensive versatility. Yes, Tracy never made it past the first round, and that's something unique for a player in the Hall of Fame. But even though his teams weren't successful, it was not because of him. It was just bad luck, injuries, and a lot of what-ifs.
Yeah, a lot of what ifs, a lot of bad luck. I'm talking about a lot of bad luck, bro. Injured, y'all main injured. You leave Vince Carter, then you leave Dwight Howard. Like, bro, what are you, T-Mac? Look, man, like, comment, subscribe, bro. Y'all want to see more of NBA breakdown, different NBA videos like this, man? Let me know in the comments, and I got y'all. But, hey, I'm going to see y'all the next one, man. No baby bab.